Well, here we are. We finally made it to the end of a school year that I swore couldn't end soon enough. Ironically, this year for me was probably the fastest school year that I've experienced, but somehow it still felt like it was never ending. Finally, the time has come and we have reached the end. Personally, this year ended up being a lot better than expected, and honestly, I had already anticipated it to be really good, but it ended up being a lot more than that. I like to think that I've grown into a really great person considering who I used to be. I've completely changed the way I go about life, and it has been extremely beneficial. I've realized that I have to live my life for myself and do whatever it takes to make the best of everything that comes my way. Right now, I'm probably the happiest that I've ever been, and I'm finally at a point in my life where I'm able to live and enjoy everything in the present and not have to worry about what happened in the past or what's going to happen in the future. Over the last few years, I've realized that you really can't get the most out of life if your mind is occupied in a different time. There's nothing wrong with reminiscing on the past and all of the memories that you've made throughout the years, but if you're constantly living in the past, there is no way to make room for new memories and experiences. For the future, it's alright to be excited about the events that are going to happen soon, but once again, if you're constantly thinking about the future, you have no time to make the most out of the time that you have right now, and honestly, you're going to regret thinking that way once you realize what you're doing. Besides learning to live in the current moment, I have learned many other beneficial lessons over the course of the last 4 years. First being that schoolwork can be extremely tedious at times, and it's obviously a good thing to do while in school, but the most important thing to remember is that your mental health and sanity should always come before the stress of schoolwork. I see so many of my classmates and friends who revolve their lives around their schoolwork, and it makes me really upset knowing that they're constantly worrying about something that isn't going to affect them long term. In my opinion, school is extremely important, but experience is a lot more important. Right now is a time in our lives where we should be exploring our interests and finding ourselves, and there is no way we can manage both at the same time. This brings me to my next point. Many people complain that high school was the worst time of their lives and that they hate it so much, but in reality, it's what you make it out to be. If you have a bad attitude towards something, you're going to experience it negatively. High school was one of the best times of my life so far, and I know that people are different and go through different struggles, but at the end of the day, it still goes back to your attitude and how you choose to look at everything. I've done so much and learned so much during the last 4 years, and high school has just helped me realize who I truly am and who I eventually want to be. Looking back on my underclassmen years, I'm not even close to being the same person that I once was, and I couldn't be any more thankful for that. For example, during freshman and sophomore year, I was a pretty terrible individual. I was pretty much known for making fun of people and judging everybody super hard. And if I could go back, knowing what I know now, I would have never done the things I did and said the things I said, especially that one incident on Twitter, which most people are familiar with. But once again, it was all a learning experience, and I would not be who I am without the old version of me, reminding myself of why I decided to become the person that I am. As I grew into an upperclassman, I matured extremely fast within a small amount of time, and it changed my life completely. I came to the realization that living a judgment-free lifestyle makes everything a lot more enjoyable, and when you only worry about yourself, it just makes everything a lot happier. And my favorite quote to reflect on is that what someone says about you says more about them than it does about you. So basically, every time someone says something negative, I don't even waste my energy feeding into their negativity because they're just showing their true colors. You should always live your life how you want to live it and never let anyone's negative opinion make you unsure of doing something that makes you happy. My philosophy is that it's none of my business what people say of me and think of me, because I am what I am and I do what I do. I expect nothing and I accept everything, and it makes life so much easier. Which brings me to my next topic, friendship toxicity and how to do what's best for yourself. Through the years, friends have came and went, a few have stuck around and then even reconnected with me. The people in my life right now are the people I choose to have around, and they've made an extreme impact on my life. In all honesty, I have a greater number of friends than most people like to have around, but I wouldn't want it to be any other way. My best friends are essentially my family, and they're all so different in their own ways, and they help me learn things that I wouldn't be able to learn without their help. They've supported me so much over the years, and they can accept me for who I am, and they help me grow infinitely. If we ever lose touch, we always find our way back to each other, and although we are all on separate paths, we know that at the end of the day, we'll always be there for each other and have each other's support. I couldn't be any more grateful to have him by my side, and the part that upsets me the most is that I've never really had a solid appreciation for my friends until recently when my eyes finally opened. For a really long time, I subjected myself to someone who did not appreciate the energy, love, and support that I always gave. It was definitely a situation that I should have stopped much sooner than I did, but at least I had the strength to finally go through with it. From that situation, I've learned that certain people are meant to stay in your life, and that some of the memories were fun, but there comes a point where you have to do what's best for yourself, even if it hurts another person, because that's just the type of selfishness that everyone's entitled to. Cutting people off can be quite possibly the most harmonious thing that a person can do, and once you do it, you'll thank yourself, and your life will just feel so much better. Letting someone walk all over you, having them get mad at you for trying to help them, and allowing them to suck all of the energy out of you is just not healthy. And I learned that lesson the hard way, but once I decided to drop the people who did nothing for me except bring me down, I've been living the highest quality life that I've ever lived while they're still out there acting as if I made a decision just to hurt them, which obviously isn't the case. So basically what I'm just trying to say is that you have to surround yourself with positive people who can greatly influence you while you influence them back. It should always be a mutual thing, or else it'll become toxic, and when that happens, you have every right to do what's best for yourself, and at the end of the day, you're the only person you have to impress, and you should always try to be the best person possible. Things that I've taught myself from experiencing negative people and negative things in life are that you should always treat people with the same amount of respect that you'd like in return, and even if they aren't respecting you, you should still respect them, because it'll create good karma. Also, kill people with kindness if they try to fight with you, because it's just a mature thing to do. It's not your place to judge others because you don't know what they're going through. Be appreciative for the things you have, and don't be materialistic, and that's really important because this world has so much more to offer than material things. Learn acceptance, and that's quite possibly the most important tip I can offer you all. It can save you a lot of stress, trouble, and conflict. Love yourself before you love anyone else, because whenever you compare yourself to other people, it just creates false illusions of what you feel is better, and in reality we're all the same, and you need to like yourself before you can waste your energy anywhere else. Never have a superiority complex. You're not better than me, just like I'm not better than any of you. We're all on different paths, and we're all doing the best that we can. Learn as much as possible if you have the opportunity. Don't be ashamed of liking the things that you like, even if people think you're weird for it. Be your own person, because you only have one life to live, so you shouldn't be trying to be someone else. And finally, never settle. You should never stop wanting to grow and learn, even if you get to where you want to be. There's always room for improvement. Those are just a few of the many lessons that I've realized over the years, and I really hope that a lot of you have learned the same lessons. I'm going to end this by saying that you all have the world ahead of you, and you're going to do so much in life, so don't stress right now, because it'll all be okay in the end, and you'll be where you're meant to be. We all have been through both good and bad times, and at the end of the day, those situations just help us become stronger people, and they help us grow. It may feel like your world is crashing down on you, and that life has become way too real, way too fast, but this is only the beginning step in our adult lives. Make the best of every moment that you have, because next thing you'll know, it'll be 10 years from now. You'll be lying awake in bed, maybe you'll be married, maybe you'll even have kids of your own. But you'll lay there and you'll think about how times were so simple back then, and how everything that you are during that time started with these last 4 years.